Ideas of future life. Although the innocent were treated kindly by Hel and enjoyed a state of negative bliss, it is no wonder that the inhabitants of the north shrank from the thought of visiting her cheerless abode. And while the men preferred to mark themselves with the spear point, or to hurl themselves down from a precipice, or to be burned ere life was quite extinct, the women did not shrink from equally heroic measures. In the extremity of their sorrow, they did not hesitate to fling themselves down a mountainside, or fall upon the swords which were given them at their marriage, so that their bodies might be burned with those whom they loved, and their spirits released to join them in the bright home of the gods. Further horrors, however, awaited those whose lives had been criminal or impure, these spirits being banished to Nastrond, the strand of corpses, where they waded in ice-cold streams of venom, through a cave made of wattled serpents, whose poisonous fangs were turned towards them. After suffering untold agonies there, they were washed down into the cauldron of Vergelmir, where the serpent Nidhogg ceased for a moment gnawing on the root of the tree Yggdrasil to feed upon their bones. A hall standing far from the sun, in Nastrond, its doors are northward turned, venom drops fall in through its apertures. Entwined is that hall with serpents' backs. She there saw wading the sluggish streams, bloodthirsty men and perjurers, and him who the ear beguiles of another's wife, where Nidhogg sucks the corpses of the dead. Seaman Zeta, Thorpe's translation. Pestilence and Famine. Hel herself was supposed occasionally to leave her dismal abode, to range the earth upon her three-legged white horse, and in times of pestilence or famine, if a part of the inhabitants of a district escaped, she was said to use a rake, and when whole villages and provinces were depopulated, as in the case of the historical epidemic of the Black Death, it was said that she had ridden with a broom. The northern races further fancied that the spirits of the dead were sometimes allowed to revisit the earth and appear to their relatives, whose sorrow or joy affected them even after death, as is related in the Danish ballad of Aegir and Els, where a dead lover bids his sweetheart smile, so that his coffin may be filled with roses instead of the clotted blood drops produced by her tears. Listen now, my good Sir Aegir, dearest bridegroom, all I crave is to know how it goes with thee in that lonely place, the grave. Every time that thou rejoicest and art happy in the mind, are my lonely grave's recesses all with leaves of roses lined. Every time that love thou grievest, and dost shed the briny flood, are my lonely grave's recesses filled with black and loathsome blood. Ballad of Aegir and Elise, Longfellow's translation. So those were Ideas of Future Life and Pestilence and Famine, the final sections of Chapter 19 of Myths of the Norsemen by Helene A Guerber, Hel. I will be working my way through this book section by section, and if there are any other public domain books that you would like for me to read, please leave a comment below. Did you enjoy this video? Then subscribe for more, and be sure to check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon. Thank you for listening, and have a lovely evening.